Hey y'all, it's Zoe and welcome back to another video on my channel. So today I'm filming the first of videos that I am trying to make to help anyone who's coming into the Fulbright Taiwan program. So I'm calling these videos kind of like crash course videos, similar to like the John Green crash course videos. So today's video is about the preference form because I know that the preference form is probably due very soon and mine was due around this time. So there are a lot of questions, and when I filled it out I had absolutely no general knowledge of Taiwan. So if you're in a similar spot, or even if you're not in a similar spot and just want to know the differences in kind of the locations and the school sizes, that is hopefully what this video will help you out. So let's get started. Alright, so one of the first few questions they're going to ask is just about where you want to live. So with school size and location size. So first, I want to put a disclaimer. Taipei is not an option on the form, and you don't choose Taipei. So if you end up with Taipei, they will put you there, and I'm going to go into that a little bit later. In terms of school sizes, Taipei is pretty much the only city that will have very big schools. The biggest school in my county, which is New Taipei, is maybe 130 students. Most schools will be small to medium-sized schools. Some schools are so small that they do combined classes where like first and second will share a classroom. My school is medium-sized. I only have one class per grade, so a lot of people are going to be in a similar situation, and some people may have 2 classes per grade. Some people may have 2 schools as well, especially if you go in a more rural area. So when you're thinking about school size, I don't think that factors in as much, because a lot of the counties have about the same amount of school sizes, and when you come to Taiwan, which I am going to make another video on orientation and all that, but you won't know your school until you get here. So you're going to learn about all of the schools and all of the options you have, and they'll go more into school size. In terms of location size, all of the cohorts are very small. The largest is Taipei, of course, but you shouldn't have more than 20 other people in your cohort. The smallest cohort, I think, is Southern Hualien and Hualien, which have about 6 people per cohort. My cohort is 14 people. The places that we live in are very rural. So I live actually in a pretty big area, but some places are smaller. So it just depends if you want to live in a bigger city type or a smaller, more rural countryside type. And I'll go into all of the different counties and like what's more of a city and what's not. In terms of transportation, Taipei and New Taipei are not allowed to have scooters, but all of the other counties that are an option, you will go through training and certification to get scooter license. Scooter is it's kind of like a motorcycle. It's very, very handy, and I kind of wish New Taipei had that, but I can understand why we don't. And it gets you places really fast. Then lots of places have buses, but some places buses aren't as reliable, which is why they have scooters. So in the more rural counties, their bus systems may not be as good, but in New Taipei, we have a pretty good bus system, pretty reliable bus system, so I think that's another reason why we don't have scooters. There are 3 counties that have an MRT. Kaohsiung, Taichung, and Taipei all have MRTs. Other places really only have scooters and buses. And then there's also trains that run all around the country. So most places have access to a train, and you can use that to travel around the country and around your county. Now, into the counties. So when I filled out this form, I again had no general knowledge of Taiwan. I tried asking people who have been to Taiwan like where they suggest would be a really good place to be, and then kind of did it based on geography. So if you want to be near a city, you might want to rank New Taipei first, but I'm going to tell you right now, being in New Taipei takes about maybe an hour to 2 hours to get into Taipei City, but as a cohort, you are very spread out because New Taipei is like a donut and Taipei is the center. You're going to be very spread out from your other cohort members. But if you go to some of the other counties, you'll be a little bit closer to your cohort members. And again, you'll have scooters, so you'll have an easy time to connect to one another and go meet up with each other. If you want more of a city option, Taichung and Kaohsiung are very good options for cities. They're very big, very popular. I think you would have a lot of fun in those cities. If you want more rural, then Taidong, Pingdong, those are all very rural. Ilan, very rural. There are some islands off the coast of mainland Taiwan. So Turtle Island is near Ilan, Green Island is near Taidong, and Xiaoliuqiu is near Pingdong. And then you have two options for islands, which are Kinmen and Penghu. Those are very, very rural, and trying to get to the mainland Taiwan will be very difficult. So if you like being in those rural areas, you can go. Just know that if you are a person of color that is not of Asian descent, you will get a lot of stares, probably a lot of questions, because they most likely will not have seen a black person or a white person walking around their island. Kinmen is super close to mainland China. If you've heard of Xiamen, they're very close to each other. So it's farther away than Penghu is to mainland Taiwan. Now we will have like conferences where you have to go to Taipei, and Fulbright will pay for that transportation. But if you want to come here on weekends, just know it will cost you a plane ticket or a boat ride over. So it depends how close to mainland you want to be. People have to go on the islands, so if you want to be on an island, you should put it at the top because they're always looking for people to go on an island. Honestly, everywhere is great. If you choose somewhere along the west coast, you'll have access to something called the HSR, which is known as the high-speed rail, which is basically a long distance train that's kind of like a subway. It goes super, super fast. If you're along the east coast, you'll have the regular trains, and the regular trains go down the west coast as well. You just have the option of using the high-speed rail if you would like. The south is hotter, so if you like hot places, I would choose a southern county. If you are okay with some cold and some rain, you can choose a northern county. If you watch some of my videos during Vlogmas, I was wearing a coat, so it doesn't get below 30, not even below 40, but there will be wind and rain, which will make it feel colder. So just keep that in mind. And I mean, there's a lot to do in all the counties. If you look up things to do in each county, you'll find it. I think some of my favorite counties I've been to so far have definitely been Kaohsiung. That was really fun. Taipei, there's a lot to do in Taipei, so even if you're not placed in Taipei or New Taipei, you can come up here on weekends. I'm able to travel to other counties on weekends. You can travel to Taipei on weekends if you would like. Taidong is very pretty as well. All of the counties are super pretty. Taiwan is just a beautiful country in general. Hualien is where the Taroko Gorge is. It's a national park, one of the most famous national parks. It's also where the earthquake was a few weeks ago. But yeah, if you have any more questions on geography, you can look up a map of Taiwan. You can also look up things to do in Taiwan and see kind of where those things are. I think New Taipei has a lot of stuff to do. It just depends if you would like to be more spread out from your other cohort members or not. And you also have easily accessible places to Taipei. I would say they usually try to give you your top 5 choices, at least one of those. I think language skills definitely goes into it, as well as your background and kind of just what you're looking for, if you're okay riding a scooter, if you'd rather take a bus, etc. Now, the reason why the form will ask you for language skills is, I think it's really important because if you are placed in a more rural county, the chances of them speaking English are very low. So if you don't know any Chinese, you might have difficulty navigating your county, but they ask about language skills because they make sure people with decent enough Chinese are placed in each county to help out. You're never going to be in a situation where everyone in your cohort doesn't know Chinese. If you're placed in a more city-like area like Kaohsiung or Taichung, even like Pingdong where Xiaoliuqiu was, like very popular touristy areas, people are going to speak English. It may not be perfect, but they'll speak English. But if you're in a more rural area, I suggest that you know at least a little bit of Chinese. And if you are placed there, which you should find out your placement's early May, take that time to learn the language. Even if you only know like a little bit, like that's better than nothing. The best advice I can give you if you don't know the language to learn is restaurant vocab and transportation vocab. Just learning about different foods they have and learning about different types of transportation and how to get places. Those are going to be very helpful vocabulary you should know. In terms of dietary restrictions, it is very difficult if you are vegetarian or vegan to find food in Taiwan. I'm just going to be honest with you because they eat a lot of meat and seafood here, but it is doable. I would say if you're in a more city-like area, you'll probably have more luck. I've also known lots of people who were vegetarian or vegan, came to Taiwan and changed their diet to be vegetarian except chicken, or vegetarian only on weekends, or vegan when they can. So just know that if you have dietary restrictions, you're gonna find it difficult, but it's doable. It'll just be hard. Some places will give you a kitchen and you can cook your own food. Some areas you won't have a kitchen, you'll have to go out and look for food. So it just depends what area you're in. Now, I'm in New Taipei, and I've already mentioned some of the aspects of New Taipei. So I would say the distance between each other is definitely a con of New Taipei. So if you don't want to be far away from each other, don't put New Taipei at the top. However, it is very easily accessible to get into Taipei. So if that is a goal for you, you can put that. We do use Taipei as kind of a central meeting location. So there's that. Also about Taipei, we all have studio apartments. You can kind of see my apartment behind me. This right here is my bathroom, and that's my bed, and that's pretty much all there is to it. There's the desk I'm sitting at right now. But a lot of the other places, all the other counties have kind of a shared suite style situation. Everyone has their own bedroom, but sometimes you'll have shared bathrooms. You'll have maybe a shared living room, shared kitchen. So if that is what you're looking for, New Taipei should be at the bottom because pretty much all of us have studio apartments. If you are okay with a studio apartment, you can rank New Taipei a little bit higher. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, how you get put into Taipei. So the reason why they ask you for your educational background is because Taipei schools look for ETAs who have had past teaching experience or have any kind of master's or bachelor's in education. And I think that's just because it's a Taipei city thing. The government has implemented something called Bilingual by 2030, which you'll learn all about in orientation. But it's basically just the government's hope that the country will be bilingual by 2030, and it's their way of getting funding to bring in foreign teachers from all over. So Taipei schools are really looking for people with past teaching experience. So that is why Taipei is not an option and why they ask for your education background, because if you have experience teaching, have a master's in teaching, master's in TEFL or TESOL, they are looking for that, and they will give you Taipei as an option once they've gone through the form. You can change your site, I believe. I don't know how easy or difficult that process is, but I do know people who have changed their site, and you can always drop out. There is an alternates list, there's a waiting list, so there will be people who will be waiting to take your place if you don't like your site placement or if you don't want to do this anymore. So that is pretty much it for this video. I hope this was helpful, and if you need any more help or have any questions, you can email me through my YouTube email or comment down below and I'll be happy to help you. Good luck, congratulations. I'm so excited for this next journey for you. I'll be making more crash course videos about Fulbright Taiwan, including budgeting, orientation, packing, all that stuff. So stay tuned for that, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!